I'm Jake Morrow, a 30-year-old auto technician with rough hands and a defiant attitude, married to my wife Lila for just over a year. Life's been hard lately. Money slips through our fingers like water, and we've been pinching every dime to save up for our own home. That's when Lila's mother, Eleanor, swoops in with her grand offer. "Move into my guest suite," she says one evening over dinner, her voice dripping with false sweetness, like she's handing us a golden opportunity. "Save your earnings. Build your future." Lila's eyes light up instantly, her golden hair shimmering under the dining room lights as she squeezes my arm. "See, Jake? It'll be fine. She's just being mom." But I'm not convinced. Eleanor is a widow with too much time to meddle, especially in my life. Ever since I started dating Lila, she's nagged me. My job's filthy, my clothes shabby, my whole existence unworthy of her precious daughter. She once spat outright when Lila was out of earshot. "She was happier before you." Jake Fuller. It burned, but I shrugged it off. Lila's worth it. Still, my gut tightens whenever Eleanor's near, like a distant alarm. Lila just laughs softly, her amber eyes warm, and says, "You're overreacting." She's harmless. She rests her head on my shoulder. Maybe she's right. Maybe I'm just drained from endless shifts at the shop, elbow deep in oil, struggling to keep us afloat. Then there's Drew, my best friend since childhood, a long-haul driver with a raspy voice and zero tact. We're cracking beers at his cramped apartment a few nights later, when he leans in, scratching his stubble around the bottleneck. "You're insane, moving in with that old buzzard. She's got a grip like a vice and eyes like a hawk. You're stepping into a trap." I brush it off, call him dramatic, but his words cling like thorns. He's got a knack for spotting trouble, and he's rarely wrong. Yet I push the dread down. We need this, I remind myself. Just a few months, until we're free. So, against my gnawing instinct, I agree. We pack our meager belongings, my wrenches, Lila's stacks of clothes, our worn-out couch, and haul it all to Eleanor's sprawling, creaky house on the town's edge. The guest wing has its own door, but it doesn't feel private enough. I can picture Eleanor waltzing in with a spare key whenever she pleases. That first night, I'm staring at the ceiling, Lila curled against me, her breath steady on my chest. The room's too sterile, too quiet, nothing like our dingy old place with its leaky pipes and cracked walls. Eleanor's voice echoes from dinner. "No smoking in my home, Jake. No disruptions. Keep it spotless." I didn't sign up to be her tenant, yet here I am, trapped under her rules. Lila's my anchor, the reason I'm enduring this. I focus on her, the way her hair fans across the pillow, the future we're fighting for. Just as I drift off, a sharp creak cuts through the hall. My eyes fly open, heart pounding. Probably just the house settling, I tell myself, but the logic doesn't soothe me. The next morning, I'm up before dawn, slipping into the workshop with an aged carburetor I'd hauled over. I need a distraction, something that still feels like my own. Lila's still asleep, but Eleanor's already clanking dishes in the kitchen. Her voice drifts through the window as I torque a bolt. "Jake's an early riser, isn't he?" Useful to learn his habits. My fingers clench around the wrench, knuckles bleaching. It's just her way, I repeat, intrusive, relentless, always observing. But the dread in my stomach festers, creeping like mold. We're committed now, boxed into her world, and I've got to endure it for Lila, for us. I just hope Drew's wrong. I hope this house doesn't swallow me whole. I'm Jake Morrow, and living with Eleanor is starting to feel like a noose, inch by inch, a filing cabinet. Gum. I slapped the bag on his desk, the camera spilling out. My mother-in-law planted these in our bedroom. She's been spying on us. Detective Russo arches a brow, plucking one up, rolling it between his calloused fingers. He lets out a low whistle. Covert cameras? That's felony territory. Recording without permission. You got proof she's behind it. I nod, voice steady despite the fire in my ribs. She confessed. Said it was to ensure Lila's happiness. My wife didn't even flinch. Russo's jaw hardens, and he scrawls in a notepad. We'll need a formal statement. If this pans out, we're talking warrants. The next hour's a blur. laying out the timeline. Relocating to Eleanor's her dictates, the glowing red in our room, the showdown. Russo jots notes, interrupts with razor questions, and by the end, there's a case file and a promise to dig deeper. I leave the station feeling unburdened, as if I've shed an invisible load. Back at Drew's place, my phone vibrates incessantly. Lila this time, not texting but calling. Her name flashes like a hazard light. I ignore it, letting it roll to voicemail. When I finally listen, her voice is strained, seething. Jake, I'm taking legal action for savings. You can't just empty it. Mom says you've lost it. Lost it? Me? I bark out a harsh laugh. Drew cocks an eyebrow, grinning. They're flipping the script, huh? Predictable. I'm not surprised. Eleanor's always been skilled at warping the truth. But it gnaws at me that Lila's playing along. That joint account was mostly my deposits, my hard-earned paychecks. And now they're coming for blood. I need legal backup. I mutter. Drew slaps my back. Call Avery, my ex. She's an attorney. Hates meddling relatives like poison. I reach out that afternoon. Avery answers promptly, her tone clipped and assured. I lay it all out. The hidden cameras, the escape from Eleanor's, the threatened lawsuit. She jumps in immediately. This is a slam-dunk case. Illegal surveillance? Felony. And if you funded that account, they're dead in the water. I'll annihilate them. I warmed her instantly, razor-sharp, relentless, hungry for the fight. She requests bank records. I shoot them over, and she vows to file a counterclaim within days. Hanging up, my pulse steadies for the first time in weeks. She's on board. I tell Drew, we're striking back. He cracks a fresh beer, smirking. Good. Let them sweat. 3 days later, Detective Russo calls while I'm beneath a sedan, hands slick with oil, phone wedged against my ear. Warrants issued for Eleanor, he rasps. We're grabbing her today. Your statement and the hardware sealed it. I slide out, wiping my palms on a rag, and a surge of something electric hits me. Vindication, maybe. They won't skate this time. After thanking him, I prop against the workbench, picturing Eleanor's smug grin as steel clicks around her wrists. Lila's lawsuit still hangs overhead, but with Avery in my corner and the law closing in on Eleanor, the fear's gone. I've got my footing now. This isn't the end, but it's one hell of a start. I'm Jake Morrow, standing outside Drew's apartment as dusk bleeds into the pavement, stretching shadows like cracks. It's been a whirlwind. Eleanor's warrant, Avery prepping to dismantle Lila's case, and me sleeping on a couch, battered but far from broken.